to watch. So first of all, I want to welcome you all to Canvas Student Training. And right below our title here, I have our email alias so that when we go through this, if you are having any issues, that we can actually work with you sometime within this week, so Thursday or Friday, to get everything ironed out for you if you are having any difficulties. But let's talk about what we're learning tonight. So I'm going to review the purpose of our training. I'll talk a little bit about what our learning objectives are, or what are some of the things that you'll need to do by the time we get through this presentation. So you'll have a little bit of homework to do, and that's really just getting you into the system. We'll talk a little bit about what Canvas is, and a little sneak peek on the right-hand side of our screen. We actually can see the Canvas landing page, which is your dashboard, and this is actually your new online classroom. We're going to talk about the technical requirements that you need to meet in order to be successful in the new platform. We'll cover how to log in. We'll take a look at the dashboard. We'll talk about navigating your courses, checking your grades, and we'll discuss getting help and then what the next steps are. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, the purpose of the training is that we are transitioning into a new online classroom called Canvas. We will no longer use Moodle that you're currently using right now. Now, you want to continue to take your current class in Moodle, but for your next class, which would begin February 15th, that is when you'll be going into Canvas. If you are joining us and you're in one of our semester-based programs, you are not moving to Canvas until April 26th. My guess is that most of you are, though, in a 5-week module program and will be going in February. The purpose of the training today really is to prepare you to be successful in the new system, and we hope that you love it. It's a very attractive and user-friendly system, and we hope that the time spent today is helpful to get you started. So our learning objectives are going to be that we take you through a list of things that you can do yourself in this Student Canvas checklist that we show on the screen. When you're finished with the session today, our goal is that you will have activated your student account, logged into the student portal, logged into Canvas, and then been able to go in and look at your dashboard in Canvas and watch for your first course notification that will come next week. So what is Canvas exactly? Well, I kind of gave you a little hint. It is a learning management system or online classroom, and all schools use something like this in order to offer their classes, whether they're fully online or hybrid classes. It's a way really for a school to provide you with access to your instructor's lectures, course materials, and a place for you to upload your work and also take a look at your grades. Canvas is actually recognized as one of the best learning management systems available today, and so naturally we are very excited to show it to you. Now, before we get into Canvas or any of our other systems, no matter what you're using with us, we have some basic technical requirements that you need to meet in order to have the best experience. First of all, high-speed internet connections are required. Cable or DSL are typically what high-speed internet connections are. And then there are hotspots that people do try to use. However, hotspots are not recommended. If you're not sure what a hotspot is, then that's okay. I'll explain. If you do know what it is, I'm going to ask you to not use it for school. So a hotspot is essentially where you take your cell phone and you actually use it as the internet connection for your computing device. The problem with that is it is very slow and it can be intermittent. So when you're doing interactive activities in the classroom or we are having you look at videos, hotspots just really aren't very good in order to access the services. The next thing that you need to look at on our list here is the fact that we do highly recommend and really require that our students use a laptop or a desktop computer that is running Windows or Mac OS. And the reason for that is we've noticed that a lot of our students who have a Chromebook have a little bit of difficulty in viewing some of our content in the classrooms. So we really don't recommend Chrome operating systems or Chrome OS. However, we realize some students are stuck with that right now. So we just want you to pay attention and be aware to the fact that if you are having trouble viewing something, and perhaps your instructor or other students can see it and you can't, there is a chance it's due to the fact that you're working with a Chromebook. However, just bear in mind that that's an issue. and we will work towards trying to solve whatever the problem is if you do have one. The next item that we want to talk about is the browser that you're using. Chrome or Firefox browsers are recommended and really required. The reason for that is Safari, which is a common Mac browser, Internet Explorer, and Microsoft Edge browsers are not supported. What that means is Canvas, the student portal system, all of our book resources like Cengage, VitalSource, Medline, the different assessment tools that we use, they have tested all of their services on Chrome and Firefox and know that it works. That is why we ask you to please download a free Chrome browser or a free Firefox browser to all of your devices. It's not going to cost you anything, and these browsers work on things like MacBooks and iPhones and tablets and so on. So just be sure that you are using the right browser. Next, I want to talk a little bit about how to get logged in. Now, most of you, if you're coming to us from your existing class, you're going to online.brooklinecollege.edu for your classes, and then very rarely, you might be going to our student portal, which is my.brooklinecollege.edu. And in there, most students are only going in there to grab transcripts, maybe they're looking at their financial aid award letter, maybe they're making their financial aid payments, but they're not really using it for anything else. What the big change is that you will be using the student portal for everything, including your classroom. But we've made some changes to your access into the student portal, and we communicated those back in December, but we're finding that a lot of students really aren't aware how to actually get in there. And so the first thing I want to say is that earlier this week, you should have received an email that let you know that you now have a Canvas student account, and that would have come into your student email, and it also would have come to your personal email. What this means is that your account is ready, and you should be able to access your account through the student portal. What we want to do first is make sure that you've actually activated your Microsoft Office account. So we're going to talk about that. But essentially, the reason why that is so important is your student email account, which is in Microsoft Office, is actually the username and password that you'll use to access Canvas and the student portal. So we want to make sure that you understand that you'll have to go to my.brooklinecollege.edu for when you get into your classes. But in the next several slides, what we'll talk about is how we actually need you to first make sure that you're using your student email account and that you've actually activated it, okay? And so this is what the next several slides are going to be about. If you have already activated your student email account, great, that actually puts you a step ahead. But we know that a lot of our students have not used their school email account yet, and so the next part of this presentation is really focused on that because of the fact that it is required. Now, you should have received at some point in time with us instructions on how to access your Microsoft Office student email account. That includes your login credentials, which is basically your email, and your password, and those would have been sent to your personal account. Now, in December, we reset everybody's password, and what we changed it to is password and then the last 3 digits of your student number. Now, password is capitalized with a capital P. So if you've never logged in before, what you want to do is try password and then the last 3 digits of your student number. If you're not sure what that student number is, you're not sure what your email is, we're going to talk a little bit about what to do. So if you don't know what your school email address, we have actually added it to Moodle so that you could look at it prior to the 2:15 session. The way that you go about doing that is you simply go into Moodle. When you look to the upper right corner, you'll see your name, and then if you've uploaded a picture, it'll be there in the little circle. And then right beside the circle is a blue arrow pointing downward. If you click on that blue arrow, it will open up a drop-down menu that will allow you to select your profile. On your profile page, you should see a Brookline email address for yourself. Now, my example email address is one of the old school ones where it was just first.lastname@student.brooklinecollege.edu. Some of you actually have a very different email address. It might be at my.brooklinecollege.edu. I have seen students make some mistakes when using their student email accounts where they will put brooklinecollege.com, and .com isn't correct. I also notice that sometimes people forget to put the dot between student.brookline.college or my.brookline.college. So if you're having any difficulty with your email, maybe you've looked it up in here, you're not seeing it, maybe you're just confused, definitely email us at ONLN, which is short for online, -SS, which is short for student services, at brooklinecollege.edu, and we will try to help you find that information. You're definitely able to email myself directly. I'm Jennifer Greenwood. If we've already communicated, I'm happy to hear from you, as is David Majaka. David Majaka is actually your student services advisor. If you're with us at the online campus, and he's actually on the line with us today, and he should be answering questions. So while we're talking about this, David, have there been any questions that have come up that you think we need to address on the call?
No, not yet, Jen. We're good so far. They were just asking about the new web address, but nope, we're good.
Fabulous. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to assume that you do know your email address. If you don't, all I want you to do is take a deep breath, sit back, relax, and kind of absorb and watch what we're talking about here. So let's talk about activating your student account. You should have that email address. You should have that temporary password. We're going to walk you through this and show you some screenshots. But you'll essentially go to office.com. Don't type in microsoftoffice.com. Don't go to microsoft.com. Go to office.com and then click on sign in. You'll then be prompted to enter in your username, which is your student email address, and then your temporary password, and then it will walk you through some steps to reset your password. So let's take a look at how you go about doing that. If you were to go to office.com right now, you'll see the same screen I see. If you have signed in before, the one thing I'll note, and I'm going to take my little annotation tool here, and I'm hoping that you're going to be able to see my little drawing, because I'm in yellow and it's all black. Here we go. So this area, you see that? Okay. This area here, guys, right above the sign in button, if you've signed in before, you might actually see your email address sitting right here. The other thing you might see underneath is sign in with a different account. The reason why I'm telling you this is because some of us have come to the school having had an office account already, whether it was for a personal reason, a work office account, a high school office account, another college office account. So if when you see this page, if it looks like you're already signed in, and if you're not signed in with your Brookline account, you want to select underneath where it says sign in with a different account. Otherwise, if you see the page exactly like I do, and you don't have any other Microsoft account, you'll simply click on the sign in button. It's pretty straightforward. Once you click on the sign in button, you're going to see several prompts that you'll have to act upon. The first one will be, it'll ask you to sign in. So you're going to enter your school email address. Then you'll be asked to enter in your password. If you've never done this before, you're going to enter in your temporary password, which would be password and the last 3 digits of your student number, and don't forget to capitalize the P. If you've been in here before, chances are you probably remember what your password is. You can just go ahead and type that in. If this is your first time coming in, you will be asked to update your password. I did want to say one other quick thing. If you have tried to enter a password and it tells you that it is wrong, don't worry, because you can click on this forgot my password, or you can click on, in some instances, in some screens, it will say reset my password now or reset it now. Just go forward with that, because you're going to see a lot of the same screens that I'm about to show, and that will make a little more sense to you. Once you have gone through and actually updated your password, so your temporary one into a new one, and click sign in, you're actually going to be asked to provide more information. You will click next because it's going to have you verify your telephone number and your personal email address. Why we want you to do this is because, say, I don't know, it's midnight and you're really late doing homework, and maybe, I don't know, you're logging into your mom's computer and not your own, and you can't remember your password. At any time, you will be able to reset your password because you have verified your cell phone number and your personal email address. That's why we want you to do this. And so what will happen is you will be asked to verify your phone number. So you can type in your phone number. Some cases your phone number is already in the system. If we knew what it was, we put it in for you. And then you can select to have a code texted to you, or you can have a call made to you where you answer the phone and the code is verbally told to you over the phone. I always choose text. I think it's easier. And on the left-hand side of our screen, we can actually see that text number. So here's the code right here. It's 783622. We would then turn around and type that into the box and hit verify, okay? Now, the next thing that will happen is that phone number will be verified. Then you're going to need to verify your email address. Now, if there's no email address in here for you, then you would click on Set It Up Now. But if there is an email address in there for you, you will be making sure that you ask the system to email you, because it's going to email you a code. So that's what's going on over here. Verify your email address and do not use your primary work or school email. And the reason why is because we want something personal that you can easily look up, that you use all the time in case we need to do a password reset with you. So when you have the code emailed to you, this is an example of what it looks like. It will come from Unitech Learning, because Brookline College is in that family of schools with Unitech. In my example here, the code I just typed in is 123456. And then I will take that code and I'll actually paste it right into the account verification area, click verify, and then I should be able to click finish at that point. And as it says right here on the screen, we'll use the information below to recover your account if you forgot your password. Click finish to close the page, and then the last prompt that you'll see is it will ask you if you'd like to stay signed in. My recommendation is that you do stay signed in, because then you won't keep having to sign in every single time. It will remember your username and password for you. So I recommend that you click yes. Once you have completed that step, you'll actually be fully logged in and your account will be officially activated. This piece is important. You want to get to the activation and land on this page, because until you do, you will not be able to get into the student portal with your username and temporary password. It's all about you making sure that you have logged in with your student account and you've created a new password. Now, once you hit this landing page, I'm drawing attention to your student email account link in the app menu on the left-hand side. You're going to look for a blue envelope with a white O for Outlook, and when you click on that, it will launch your email account, which we're showing here. This is the email account that we're asking for you to use for all student communication. Now, for about the past month and a half, we've been asking students to be accustomed to using this account. We've been sending a lot of email communication about it. And unfortunately, we haven't seen a lot of folks, a lot of students actually going in and doing this. We really need you to do it now, because come the 15th, you won't be able to log into the classroom if you don't. So that's why it is so important. You know, we also know that most people don't really want to have to check email from a computer all the time. Most people are walking around with a smartphone and they want to use that. You actually can download the Microsoft Outlook app for Android devices. I believe it's in the Google Play Store. It's in the iPhone App Store. And you'll simply search for the app, just look Microsoft Outlook specifically, download that app, and then when you open it, it's a simple few steps. You're going to click Add Account, and then you'll enter in your student email address and your password. Okay, now once your account's actually activated, you're in great shape. What we'll have you do next? So now we've done the student account piece. Now we're actually going to go to the student portal. The student portal is at my.brooklinecollege.edu, and you can see the top shot of the screen. I just take partial screenshots for you guys because the rest of this page is white, so it doesn't really matter. But what you can see here is there is a login button. That login button will open up a menu, and in the menu, you need to choose the student portal homepage. This is what the student portal looks like when you're inside of it. Now, if you attended orientation sessions with us before, you'll know we show you a few things in here during orientation. For example, you can find things like your current GPA or previous final grades or unofficial transcripts under academics. You can see your award letter. I believe it's under My Financial Aid. And then under My Finances, for most of you, and I do realize some folks have been having trouble with this, but that's where your 1098-T should appear for tax time. So what we're going to do next is we're actually going to ask you to click on the External Links button. And then from there, a little drop-down menu comes up. We'll have you click on Brookline College Online, and then the center screen will actually change and will show you this Brookline Canvas LMS. We want you to click on that portal link in the center of the page. We do know, though, that sometimes when people click on this, it just brings up a blank page, or people really aren't sure what to do. Most of the time, this is due to the system being a pop-up. So basically, let me hit my back button. When you hit Brookline Canvas LMS, it's actually trying to pop up a new window, okay? And your browsers are configured to not allow this unless you want them to allow it. So I show on the screen that in Google Chrome and in Firefox, in the address bar at the top of your page, you may see this little box right here that has an X on it. You want to double click on that, and this is for Google Chrome. This is what it looks like in Chrome. Once you've double clicked on that box, this pop-up area will come up actually, and you want to always allow pop-ups from, and you can ignore that, it's actually going to be my.brooklinecollege.edu. So you want to always allow pop-ups from my.brooklinecollege.edu and click done. If you are using Firefox, it's going to look different. Instead of there being something in your address bar, you're going to see a big bright yellow bar that says Firefox prevented this site from opening up a pop-up window. You will click on options, and then you want to allow pop-ups for my.brooklinecollege.edu. Now, David, have there been any other questions or concerns with this? Anything else that we're seeing?
No, they were
Okay.
asking about the app, and I told them you'll be covering that a little bit later, where to find the resources on that.
Absolutely, yes. So there is an app for Canvas, and we'll talk a little bit about that here towards the end. The big thing for us today is to just make sure that we're getting you all in, because we do realize that this pop-up blocker comes up, it screws people up. So what you have to do, guys, is when you actually click always allow or allow pop-ups and you click done or you click finish over here, sorry about that. When this happens, you're actually going to have to go back and click on that link again. It's not automatically going to open it for you. You've got to allow the pop-ups and then click on this link again. And then what you'll see, if it's your very first time logging into Canvas from the student portal, is you'll have to accept or agree to the acceptable use policy and then click the submit button. Once you've done all of these things, guys, and I promise it won't be this hard ever again because it's going to be your very first time setting up your Microsoft Office, you should get taken to the Canvas dashboard. Now, the next part of our session, I'm actually going to go in here live, and we're going to do a quick navigation of how to find everything in Canvas. But the hardest part is going to be you getting into Microsoft Office and actually logging into the student portal. If you don't know your email address, if you don't know your email password, if you can't get into the student portal, or if you get into the student portal and Canvas won't come up for you, I want you to let us know in the chat, or I want you to email us at the email address I shared earlier, and I'll share again here in a little bit. Just know that we're here to help you, but our goal is to get you in there this week so that next week, finals week, you don't have to worry about all of this and you're already in, okay? Now, when you get in here, you won't have anything on your dashboard. There will be no course there. This is just an example of what it should look like come start day, okay? We actually expect that we will add your classes to Canvas on the 10th, so you'll get a little bit of a preemptive view of those classes, okay? So we're going to now move into Canvas dashboard. I'm going to pause my share, and then I'm going to go straight into live demonstration so you guys can see what the system looks like. It's just getting me to log in, so just bear with me 1 second here. Got kicked out. Sorry for all the typing, but I'm getting us in. And I have to do a quick mobile push. It's just for my security. So give me 1 sec. I'm going to do that. We got kicked out. There we go. All right. So hopefully I can screen share with you now.
And just as a side note too, just to let everybody know, I did put this in the chat for everybody. So not only is it important with the student emails being needed to get into Canvas, but all Brookline communication will be sent to your student email address. No longer will they be sent to your personal email. So it's very important that you are accessing this on a regular basis.
Thanks, David. He's right. And you know, I have been communicating with a lot of folks off and on. I've been trying to copy both emails because I really understand a lot of people haven't been using the Brookline email. But once we actually move over to Canvas, we will really try exclusively to be communicating with you with your Brookline email account. I want to show you this too while we're here. Let me just, I want to go to office.com and kind of show you what I was talking about a little bit earlier, folks. Now I'm fully logged in. If for some reason you land on this page, that means your account's probably activated, but just make sure in the upper right corner here that you look at your Office profile and make sure you're actually in your Brookline account and not a personal or a work account. You can see here that I'm actually in my Brookline account, and that's how I know.
You're paused on the screen there, Jen. It's still showing the.
Oh,
It's
darn
still,
it.
yeah, that's all right.
So
I just
sorry,
want to make
guys.
sure.
Okay, can you see
There
my
it is.
screen?
Yep,
Oh,
now we're
perfect.
in there.
Thank you, thank you. So I went to office.com and it automatically logged me in because I'm in here all the time. But this is where I can see, okay, I am actually in my Brookline College account. Sometimes people are in another account. I'm actually going to click sign out. Okay, and then I'm actually going to come back to Office since it signed me out. And this is that page I was talking to you guys about. So if you've signed in before with your Brookline account, you might see sign in as Jay Greenwood. I could click sign in. But maybe you don't see this at all. That's okay. Just click sign in. If you see this and it is a different account, maybe it's Maricopa College, maybe you went to a high school, something like that, all you'll be doing is clicking on switch to a different account, and then you'll put your Brookline email address right in there. Now, I actually have a test account that I can put in. Hopefully it works for us. Now I have my password saved. Remember how I told you guys stay signed in? That's the benefit of staying signed in, is it's keeping, see how I have two? I'm choosing this is the student one I have. I'm going to click sign in. And then again, I can go up here and show you guys, I know that I'm logged into this Brookline account. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you. And then when we talked about Outlook, Outlook is right here. And then we can open that up and you can see there are messages in here. So I'm going to close out of that, close out of this. Okay, so now I'm back to our dashboard. You know, another quick thing I might do since we're here, let me just click pause and just remind me, David, to, if I don't show you my screen, that I definitely show that to you. I just want to show you guys the live action version of my brooklinecollege.edu. So I'm trying to get it to connect. Okay, here we go. So this is my.brooklinecollege.edu. Here's that login button we talked about. Here's that student portal homepage link. And then it's asking me if I want to sign in. Now I actually have the T-Test account. Shoot, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I'm going to hit next. And I know this password. Better work. Even the best of us make mistakes typing in our usernames and passwords. Guys, one of the biggest things I see people screwing up is forgetting to put the dot between my and Brookline. Some people spell Brookline wrong. I mean, there's a number of things. So just be careful that you're using it exactly as it looks. I'm going to say, yes, I will stay signed in. And then here's what that live page looks like. Here's what the external links look like this. And this is that time where if you don't have pop-ups allowed, you might not be able to connect to this. So you want to make sure that you are actually allowing pop-ups, okay? So that's going to be something that's really important. But then once you've done that, then that's how you're actually getting into your dashboard. Now we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about, oops, looks like I'm paused again, guys. Hold on. David, can you see my screen?
You're still on the getting ready to click on Brookline Canvas LMS.
Perfect. Okay.
Now you're good.
Yay. Thank you. Gosh, what would I do without you?
Ah.
All right. So guys, when you get into your dashboard, and we'd love to hear it if you made it in, it'd be great. But when you get to your dashboard, you won't see all of these classes like I do. Just know that that's just because I'm an administrator. The other thing is you won't see all of these different features on the left dashboard navigation. You're not going to have admin because I'm an administrator. You're not. And you won't have this commons button. You will have account, which is at the top. And if you go to profile under account, that's where you can change your picture. So there's a little pencil. I can click upload a picture or choose picture, and then it will allow me to navigate somewhere where I can grab a picture. I hit open and I hit save. Really, really easy. And now it will upload that. The other thing that you'll find in here is you can register services. What that means is you can register a secondary email. You can register a cell phone under the settings page, which is here. And then you can change your notification settings. We offer a standard set of notifications. So in other words, if a due date changes in class or if something changes to the grading policy, here we have this set to notify me immediately via email. For course content changes, we have that turned off because it could literally be something like a misspelling was corrected. You don't want to know every single time something's been changed to the content, most likely, but you might want to know every time there's a new announcement in your course. You might want to be notified immediately. So these are some things that you can look at. You won't be able to add any of these other things until you actually go under the Settings tab. And on the far right-hand side, there's a section called Ways to Connect. You can add an email address by typing in your email address and clicking Register Email. You can also add a cell phone number. You can select your carrier, say Verizon, and then I can hit Register SMS, and then it should send you a text message. Now, we've been having a little bit of difficulty with the cell phone stuff, so let's at least get you in, get you started in class, and then more to come on this. Like I said, I've been able to register my SMS, but it seems like it's not connecting right now, so I just want to give you that heads up. But that's where you set all this stuff up. It's under Account, so if you want to go ahead and update your profile picture, you can do that now. And then we're going to jump down to Dashboard. This is the landing page that you come on anyway. The thing about the dashboard I want to point out is, yes, your courses are here and you simply click on them to access them. But I also want to point out that you will have a to-do list on the right-hand side that will be reflective of anything that you need to do for your current courses, and then anything that's coming up in the next few days. You'll see that here. And then finally, towards the bottom, you'll see any recent feedback you received. So if something's been graded or you receive some comments, feedback, you can kind of see that. And it gives you a direct link to those items so you can look at what was graded. So it's kind of nice. Now that stuff is all up. So if you're taking more than one class at a time, you'll see everything over here. Just so you know, there is a to-do list in each individual course, and we're going to look at that too. So if this stresses you out, seeing all the due dates in one place, don't worry, you can just look at it directly in your courses. There is a courses menu item on the dashboard navigation, and what this really shows you is anything that you have access to. So courses that you've been enrolled in will appear here, and it's just a quick and easy way to see them and to navigate between them. So if you're in an accounting class and you think, oh darn, I forgot to upload my paper for my English class, you can quickly click on that English class and get to it right from anywhere. Here on the dashboard is also a really useful tool called Calendar. The calendar will have all of your due dates in one place. So if you're taking 2 or more classes, this is a great way to keep track of everything. There's also an inbox option. You can check emails from instructors, and in the upper right corner, you can actually compose a message. You could choose the course that you're in and look in the address book to contact your instructor, and this will send a message to them that will actually appear right back in this area. I have a couple of samples here that I used, but that's essentially what you do. You can download those messages, you can reply. So you watch out for instructor messaging here. There are also some other settings. You can delete things and so on. The history button will show you any recent things that you've done in the system. So if you've been in multiple classes or looked at certain modules, you will not have comments. That's something for instructors, but you will have a help button. The help button will give you options for chat with Canvas student support. There's also a Canvas support hotline, and there's a place for you to ask your instructor a question. So there's a lot of really great things on there. And now I'm going to navigate back to Dashboard so we can actually go in and take a look at what a class looks like. So this is our sample SS100 class. And just like what you would probably imagine would be the best thing to do is you really kind of start from the top and work your way down through the course. Now, because I am an administrator, I need to switch over to Student View so we can see what it would look like for you. So we still have the same dashboard over here, but you'll notice that Admin disappeared, and so did that Commons. And so this is what it would look like when you first get in. The other thing that you'll notice when you click on a course is there's also a course navigation bar on the left. That's different from the dashboard navigation bar. Dashboard will always be there. The course navigation bar, it's there for each class, but it's only for things within the class. A little tip, home and syllabus are the same page. So we can see that syllabus is actually highlighted here. Either one that you click on will take you to the same place. So if I click on that, they look similar. Okay. The one thing that you'll notice, and I'm not really sure why this is, Home actually shows you recent announcements. So in my opinion, I like to go to Home, and actually when you click on a class from your dashboard, it's always going to take you to the home page. So I'll demonstrate that here. Oops, sorry guys. That's not working because I have to leave student view to do that. So let me go ahead and show you that again. So if I'm in my dashboard and I click on a course, I'm always going to be on the home page where I can see recent announcements. And so I strongly recommend that you always start by looking at whatever is in the announcements area. And all you'll do is click on the announcement to review it. And these are just sample announcements that I've created. They're very generic, but it's just so that I could show you how this behaves. Then what I can do is I can navigate back to home, and you'll notice that I have read that announcement, so the little blue dot goes away. I can look at my instructor information here. I can hit the home button again, and that blue dot will go away. And if we continue to look at the announcements, and by the way, you can click on your back button. It's not going to hurt anything. You can do back or home. I've read that one, and now I've got my final message, and now I'll hit the back button so you guys can see it goes back to the same place. So now I've read all these announcements. Now let's say that it's week 3, okay? And your instructor has now posted about 20 different announcements, and maybe there was one from week 1 that you missed. You can't remember what it said. You can actually go directly to all announcements by clicking on the announcements link in the course navigation bar, and now you can see all those announcements that we read already. The reason why I tell you that is on home, you only can put up to 5 announcements as an instructor. All the rest of the older ones will fall under the general announcements page. So be sure to look over there if you think you're missing an announcement because it's been moved over to the other piece. So now that we've looked at recent announcements, I want to draw your attention over to the right-hand side. We talked about the consolidated to-do list on the dashboard menu. This is a to-do list that's specific to the course, and I have not put any due dates in for this class, so there is nothing due right now, and that's why there's nothing listed in the to-do list. If there were, you would see a to-do list, and you would see a coming up list for things in the future in the class. Another thing that you'll notice here is you get a rubric for how assignments are graded. You know, for in this class, you've got a real even split between each type of assignment. Now, this is just an example. Most classes are going to be very different from what you see here, but you get an idea of how that works. If I continue to scroll down, I'm actually going to come down to when my class actually meets. This is important. It will tell you whether your class is a class that meets multiple times per week or not. Now, this particular example, this class is a fully online class, which means all of the attendance is tracked through your participation in discussion boards and completing different gradable assignments. So it meets only once a week and only for an hour. We see that it begins at 9 and ends at 10. We also see that the very first meeting takes place on Monday, 2/15, and the last meeting takes place on Monday, March 15th, okay? If you're joining us from a campus right now, and I know most of our students are online, but if you're joining us from a campus, you might see something like meets Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you see that in your class from a ground campus, that means that your attendance is taken completely by attending live lectures. The online classes attendance is really taken by you completing assignments. So that's the difference. And there's another way for you to tell, which we'll look at in a minute. But now that we know when the days and times are for our meetings, there's a link right here to join the meeting. We can click on that. It will open up Zoom meetings or Ring Central meetings, depending on which your instructor is using. A lot of us are transitioning over to Zoom because it's a little bit easier to use with Canvas technology, but that's essentially how you get in, just like you do today with your other live lecture meetings. You'll see some notes about how to get started in the class and be successful. There will be a note about what type of an environment you're in. In this class, it's online, so it says this class is 100% online, and it talks about the fact that attendance and participation is driven by things that are student activity in the classroom. That includes what I just said, discussion boards, writing assignments, in-text activities, quizzes, assessments, and simulations. If your note says a note about virtual learning, that's a class that is actually meeting, and students are receiving attendance through their live lecture meetings, so you've got to show up to those. Online classes, those meetings are optional. If we continue to scroll down, we're going to see a short purpose and structure statement about the course. It's really just a short overview of what the course is about. Here is a reminder of the minimum technology requirements. And then there's a big red button that says click here to start week 1. Now, if I hover over it, you should see the words introduction module. And if I clicked on this, it would actually take me to the module so I can begin my work, essentially. All of the week's work is found in a section called modules. And modules is actually, if I scroll up, modules is one of the main items in the course navigation menu. So you have 2 ways to get to your class. You can click on modules when you get onto the dashboard after you've reviewed your announcements and so on. Or if you see the big red button, you can click on that big red button. I want to point out, though, that your syllabus is available for you to download on your first page. And there is also a syllabus section in modules that we'll look at. So I'm going to skip clicking this button because it's going to take us to the same place. I want you to see how modules works. So here is modules, and you can see we have an introduction module, we have a textbook module, syllabus quiz module, week 1, and so on. I'll scroll down a little bit more. You can see week 2, and I'm going to look at these a little more closely, give you some examples. But essentially, all of the week is loaded like this. You'll notice that we do have some prerequisites set up. Week 5, for example, you cannot do week 5 unless you complete the end of course survey. The other thing that is usually locked is your first week's work because you need to complete your syllabus acknowledgement. So I'm actually going to hit reset on my student view. Just bear with me one moment. And I'm going to navigate us back to modules, and I want to show you what I mean. If you have not done the syllabus acknowledgement, which is here, week 1 will be grayed out. So you'll see it's kind of gray, and it says prerequisite is the syllabus quiz. So every time you come into class, after you've reviewed all of the things that we looked at together on the home page, you then want to navigate to modules and review all of this information that's in the introduction, which I'll show you in a sec. But you're always going to want to make sure that you do that syllabus acknowledgement, or week 1 will be completely missing for you, okay? So you won't be able to get into it. What I want to do now is I'm going to scroll back up to the introduction module and show you a couple cool things. So if you notice, this is a lot of scrolling, right? And every time you come in here, you know, it can be a little bit of a pain. So after you've reviewed certain aspects or completed certain pieces, there's actually this little collapse button that you can click on to hide stuff. So I wanted to point that out. But in the introduction module, guys, if you've been in Moodle, you'll know that we have an instructor welcome page. We have a live lectures page. Here is a discussion board for questions for the instructor. You have access to things like student resources. There are some Canvas videos here, Turnitin instructions. There's an APA paper template that resides in here. There are going to be ebook resources and other resources available from the course. The way that you access these items is if you see an icon beside it, and it's usually clickable. If you can navigate it like this, you see like the blue, you've got to look for a little icon. I'm actually going to click on, let's start with questions for the instructor, because you guys already know what the instructor welcome and live lectures look like from Moodle. Questions for the instructor allows you to ask questions to your instructor. You can actually simply hit this reply button, and this is exactly how all of the discussion boards work too. You can type in, I have a question, okay? Note that you have a lot of different tools up here to use. There's a word count tool. You can format your response. You can insert links, images, and so on. I'm going to leave this as is. Maybe I'll bold that just so you guys can see. And then I'm going to hit post reply. As you can see, I've done this session many times, so I have a lot of these in here. But here's the most recent one we just did at 6:44. You can see my message. And then if you wanted to reply to someone else directly to their question, in case you knew the answer, right? I have an answer. You can reply right back. going to bold that just for fun. And there you go. I have an answer. So you can see it's very easy to use. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm actually just going to hit our back button a couple of times to get us out of the thread and bring us back to where we were. So we looked at questions for the instructor, and I want to look at student resources. I'm looking at student resources because for many of you, you will be familiar with using Moodle, and I'm going to, oh, didn't mean to do that, sorry, click the wrong button, 1 sec. I want to go into Moodle and show you something and compare this, okay? So let me go ahead. So what I'm looking at right now is the student resources section under modules. And what you'll notice is there's the catalog and handbook, and a link is right down here. As you can see, it says it can be found here. There are a variety of technical support resources to you if you're having trouble with a specific kind of book or resource. There is something called Canvas Help. So if you can't remember how to view your instructor feedback or set up your notifications, or maybe you just want to understand a little bit more about Canvas, there are library resources here. This is your online librarian. And then we talk about the different college resources that we have and the different databases that we use. We're going to come back to some more library stuff here in a second. But the main reason why I'm here, guys, is the student services resources are here. And for some, it might be a little buried. So we want to make sure you know how to get to it. And the reason why I say this is, and I'm going over to Brookline College's online Moodle page actually has this information in the top navigation bar. And it's a little bit more easy to access here. I'd say the one thing that's changed is that it's a little bit more hidden. There's 2 ways to get to all of the student services contact information. One of them is what we just did, which was clicking on student resources right here. But the other thing, that other place you can find this actually is this pages link right here. It is exactly the same page. It goes to the same stuff. And just know that student services is the last tab. So I wanted to make sure we covered that because a lot of students do need help and they want to know how to contact someone. Another thing I'll click on here is the APA template and resources. This is your sample paper template. You simply click on the link and you can see the download has started and it's there. I can actually open it. I have some other stuff open here in Word, but bear with me. Here is that sample paper that you can save. So there isn't a lot that has really changed in terms of what the available resources are. You may just have to hunt and peck a little bit to find them, but they're generally in the same order that we had them in the old classroom. One of the things I want to call out here that we think may change, and this has been very recent information, guys, is this section here called eBook Resources. And then there's another section down here called eTextbook. We may be getting rid of this eBook Resources section at the top and only going with this separate module just because we don't want there to be too many places for you to find these things. What should happen is you should be able to click on these links and then they take you directly to your ebook readings and things, because I know a lot of students that have been in MindTap had difficulty finding their textbooks. We're trying to add a different way to display your textbooks to you so you can click on them anytime that you need to. So now that we've looked at all this, I did want to say we talked about the syllabus and the fact that if we don't do the acknowledgement, remember week 1 is blocked. So what you can do is if you didn't download the syllabus from page 1, which we could have done, we didn't have to, but we could, you can actually download it right here. So we'll wait for that to come up. You'll see there's my download. I'm going to go ahead and open it. And here you can see the course syllabus. It's actually about 6 pages long. Let's say 5 or 6 pages? 5, okay. So after you've reviewed that, what we need for you to do, hit your back button or click on modules and come back to do the syllabus acknowledgement. The syllabus acknowledgement is different than a syllabus quiz. It's shorter. It is only 2 questions. It's worth 2 points. So let's take a look at what that looks like and what it's like to do a quiz. Because if you do an in-course quiz, it's going to be very similar. You will notice that there will be a list of questions on the far right-hand side. And if there's any time limit on any test that will be there, this is a 2-question quiz. There's no way anyone needs 30 minutes to do this, but it's added anyway. And really what you're doing is you're acknowledging that you've received and read the syllabus and that you've received the course, you've reviewed the course outline, which is in the syllabus, and that you understand your weekly course objectives, your final grade elements, and coursework that is due each week. Once I hit submit quiz, That should show me what I got right or wrong. And then it shows me in the upper right corner. That took me less than a minute to do. I got 2 out of 2. And because it's an unlimited attempts quiz, I could take it again, but obviously I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to come back to modules. So you'll see me navigate to modules. And let's scroll down and see if that opened up week 1. And ta-da, there it is. Okay, so I want to say that we're still working through the textbook module section. We're trying to add more resources, so bear with us. When you get into class, you should see these things kind of combined together. So we're just really still building this out. So let's take a look at some of the things that you might find in a particular week. You'll have the same things that you've always had. Readings. If you're an online student, you've had discussion questions. You may have writing assignments or things that you have to upload to a Dropbox. Some of you will have MindTap assignments. Others will have McGraw-Hill Connect assignments. Some of you will be in Medline. I mean, there's going to be a number of resources that are available. There are a couple of things I want to show you, and one of them is how to review a discussion question and post to it, and then how to submit a writing assignment, and what some of the features are that are available on these pages. So in this discussion assignment, a couple things that have changed is that the image is very large now for your videos if you are playing a video and then responding to a question. So here's the writing prompt. Then underneath the writing prompt are some instructions. And then underneath that, it's that same old reply button we used in the questions for the instructor. Now, I have actually just copied and pasted some things from up above. I just wanted to copy it to give you an idea what a larger item looks like. You can see a lot of our folks have been practicing as we've been doing these live sessions. We show all of this fun stuff here. Remember that all you have to do when beginning your initial posting is click on reply, type your message or answer in here. I'm just going to grab some text, copy, paste. This is not what you're to do. Obviously, you're going to write something new. I'm just doing this quickly. And then once I'm happy with my response, I simply hit post reply. And because I was the last person that posted, mine comes down to the bottom. Now, if I need to reply to 2 other students, because that is part of the requirement, I will simply hit reply under their main response. And then I can just write something. Thank you for sharing this information. Now, we want these reply posts to be about 50 words. Your initial response should be about 150. So obviously, these shouldn't be this long. I'm just trying to demonstrate how easy this works. So you can see my reply is right here underneath that main post, okay? And then here's that main post I made earlier. It's way down here. It's all about order in which these things were posted. And if there is more than one page, you may see the ability to continue to look at other student postings. But that's essentially how a discussion question works. I'm going to navigate back through modules. You can navigate through the back button if you want. It's totally up to you. I'm going to actually hide some of these things so we don't have so much stuff in our way. I can hide all those, which is kind of fun. So now I want to look at a writing assignment. If I click on writing assignment part 1, what you'll notice, again, about our assignment pages now is there will be a due date at the top, the number of points that you'll be earning with this assignment, what you need to submit, and what type of file you have to submit. Your instructions are here. And then when you're ready, you will click on the Submit Assignment button in the upper right corner, and that will actually launch a whole file upload section at the bottom. What I'm going to do when I'm done writing my paper, I choose File, and I'm actually going to come over here. And normally I store a lot of my stuff on my desktop or whatever. I'm actually just going to pull the paper download that we did a second ago just to show you what it looks like to upload a Word document in here. Now, I can add another file if I choose to, but I don't need to because I only need to submit one document, and then I can hit Submit Assignment. And then we get a wonderful display of confetti, which is a lot of fun. And then in the upper right corner, I want to draw your attention to a couple of things that are different. Here you'll notice that there is a indication that you submitted your work on February 3rd at 6:54. You can download your paper if you want. And then if for some reason you needed to rewrite and resubmit, your submit button has now become a resubmit button. When I click on that button, it actually just opens up the same dialog box at the bottom where I can then upload a file again. So it's super easy. And you'll always get a notification up here that you submitted or completed the task. It's going to be the same way for quizzes and things like that as well, unless those quizzes are built into a textbook. Now, after you've done a lot of this work, you probably want to start to look at your grades. And so the way you see your grades for each individual course is in the grade book within the course menu. Grades are not on the dashboard menu, they are on the individual course menu. So you have to go the whole way into the course to see the grades for that course. The grades are organized by the name of the topic or the name of the, the assignment type. So you see a lot of MindTap exercises and such here. There's a final paper. Now you probably are thinking, now why is the final paper right there? It's because there are no due dates put in. As soon as due dates are put in, these things will appear in the order in which they're due. And then on the status section, if you've turned your paper in, it will show as submitted. If you have not turned your paper in, it will show as not submitted. If it has been graded, it will say graded. So sometimes you'll have a submission that's sitting in there and there'll be no grade. That means it's just submitted and not graded yet, and you wouldn't have a score, and that would be why. If you ever come to a conclusion that you think you're missing a score, you definitely want to reach out to your instructor. And if it looks like you haven't submitted something, perhaps you forgot maybe to do your quiz, you actually can click directly on this link and it will take you right to that piece of homework that you had to do. I want to actually scroll down and see what happens when we click on this. Okay. So you can see that this shows you what I actually posted as the test student. Remember, I posted that initial posting, and then I actually replied to one other student. The instructors will probably be adding comments to this for you so that you can review that. But essentially, when you look at the grade book, if you're missing a grade, look at this, guys. You can see that I actually submitted something here. It's a little chat bubble. And you can also see that I submitted something into the writing assignment, okay? But it's not graded yet. That's why there's no score in there. What you'll notice too, if you scroll down to the bottom, is as you complete your work, you'll start to see totals forming down here. It'll look at what was due so far, how many points were due so far, and what your percentage, of success is. And you'll be able to keep track of that at the bottom there. The other thing I want to point out, I'm going to go back over here to our course navigation, is there is a chat feature. So if you and other students are online at the same time, you can actually talk to one another. The other thing that you'll notice is there's a people section, and you can actually look up the instructors. So you can look up students from your class. Now I have a lot of people enrolled in this class, and that's because it's a test class and everybody's training right now with this course. But you would see all of the folks in your class, and then over on the far right side under role, if you weren't sure who your instructor was, you can see there's your instructor right there. Now that is listed under your instructor welcome and a whole bunch of other places. But in the event that you are not sure, that's where you need to look for that. And then there is the virtual library. The virtual library that I just opened is actually a lot of different databases that you can use based on the things that you need to research or look up. Many of you are doing medical related topics, so you might have to look into certain databases for that. Some of it might be science and technology, perhaps you're in dental. There's going to be different things that you'll be able to find. Here's health and medical, of course, that's probably the first one I should have said. You can see that there are a lot of different there's an agricultural database. There's a lot of different databases that are going to have health and medical related stuff in them, and that's why they're listed in that order. You'll notice that that opened up in a new window for us. I can actually close out of that, and it takes me back to my main tab. If you have questions for the librarian, or if you need to get a hold of student services or anybody, remember, we clicked on pages before. I'm going to let that load. And remember, the librarian's information is right here. So pages is kind of an odd word for here's where all the help is, essentially. And then the other final thing I want to do from a help perspective is now that I'm in student view, I'm actually going to click on this help button because I wanted you to see this did change our menu a little bit. Here we have chat with Canvas supports. If you're having technical difficulties, you can either chat with them or call them. They are a 24/7 service that's available to you as a new student coming in. So I want to stop and ask David for any questions coming up, anything you would like me to recover.
No, there are questions, but I'm handling them in the chat, so nothing that needs to be readdressed.
That is amazing. Okay, so really where we're at this point, everyone, is I just want to resume sharing my my PowerPoint. David, can you see the PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Awesome. Good. Okay, so if you haven't already done this on the system with us now while we were going through the presentation, which is completely understandable because we're probably hogging up your whole screen, what we'd like for you to do now between now and, well, if you could, between now and Friday, is please activate your student email account. And then once you've activated it and you're in office, we then want you to log into the student portal from there, and that's the my.brooklinecollege.edu. We want you to click on that Canvas LMS link that we showed you earlier, and we want to see if you can get the whole way into the dashboard menu and just see the dashboard. We know that there isn't any courses in there for you right now. There will be a course put in there for you on Monday. It is a practice course. It will allow you to go in and actually submit something to a discussion board. You'll be able to upload a Word doc for practice, and you'll be able to practice a quiz. And we're actually going to continue to run sessions next week too, so that if you do get stuck, we're going to have you come on with us and we'll assist you. So look out for some additional invites from us for next week too. But in the meantime, if you can't get through these steps, please contact us at onln.ss@brooklinecollege.edu so that we can help. Now, I know that we are at time. I know it is 7:01 right now. Are there any other questions? So last call for questions. We're definitely willing to stay on with you to help answer any questions that you have.
I did put the email address in the chat so they can copy and paste it if there are any that they think of after they leave.
Fabulous. Awesome. Now, wasn't somebody asking about the Canvas app?
Oh, yes, they were asking about that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, so here's what you want to do. The group that had us put this together just didn't want us to include so much information that we'd overwhelm you. So I'm going to talk you through this, you guys, so you know what to look for. When you go into your app store, you are going to look for Canvas Student. And it looks like, I believe it looks like a little red circle. Let me just check my phone because I have it on my phone. One sec. All right, it's white background and it's like a circular shape made out of little red dots. And I'm actually going to try to pull up what it looks like right now. Now I have all the steps on how to actually get in here.
Jen, the one slide you had actually showed the logo for Canvas.
Did it? Okay.
Yes,
so I know this is kind of silly, guys, but this is what you're looking for, this gigantic thing. So when you go into your app store, you're going to type in Canvas Student and you're going to download this. Now, here's the really cool thing that I think you'll love. Once you've done that, if you're actually logged into Canvas the whole way, I'm going to leave my student view to show you this. If you're logged into Canvas the whole way, what will happen with the Canvas Student app is if you open it, it will ask you to select your school and then make you log in. But right underneath where it says choose your school, there is a button that says scan the QR code. The way you get to your QR code, it will automatically sign you in, so it's super cool. If you go into your account and you click on QR for mobile login, I'm going to hit proceed, okay? If you have the Canvas mobile app open and you click on scan QR code and you hold your phone up to your screen, it will automatically choose Brookline College. It will automatically log you in and you will not have to select the school. You won't have to type in your username and password or any of that. It'll get you right in. And so that's what I want to recommend everyone does, is they actually scan that QR mobile login if you do decide to use the mobile app when you get started. But that's about it. So if there aren't any other questions, I just want to thank you so much for being here. We know that this is a big change and we appreciate your patience as we work through the rest of the process. Just know that you can reach out to us anytime. And we do have additional sessions running the rest of the week. Tomorrow we have a 6 o'clock, Friday we have a 12 o'clock, and then you'll receive additional invitations for more training next week, getting into that practice class so that you can try out the system. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close our session. I want to thank David for taking so many questions and being great in the chat. So thanks, Dave. You're awesome.
Hey, you are too. Nice work.
Yep. And thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate you, and we hope you have a great afternoon, great evening, and we'll see you in Canvas. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Bye-bye.